but I imagine there's another win in him at least. And maybe turned out under a penalty. 11-4 favourites beating Sheeran at 18-1, 100-30 Warlord. Back in 30, he was back to form on better ground. 11 ran. What's the time like? It's pretty quick. 1:39.58.58 outside standard. Right, York's a Class 2 handicap mile and a quarter, 5 runners. Non-runners 3 and 5. Stepping ahead 10-11, 3-1 at Greeley's Love. Grandorio 7s, 15-2 Lila Case, and Top Notch Tonto 16-1.
Odds on favour here is Stepping Ahead. A couple of non-runners, notable non-runners, a sublimation of 1 Pecan, who would have made this race slightly more interesting. Before we get into talking about our second, let's just reflect on what we saw in the first. A very impressive win by Reroute for Ed Walker in a very quick time. Showed a really likeable attitude and could be Royal Ascot bound in the Queen Mary.
I have to hold my hands up. I didn't spot that entry. For an unraced filly entry in the Queen Mary, they're far and few between, but she obviously thought a bit about her. Surprising she went off at such a big price, but I spoke to Robert Winston afterwards and he said she travelled like a dream, knew her job, which wouldn't surprise me having been through the breeze-ups. And when he hit the front, she just pricked her ears and he wanted to get some company, so he drifted across to the second horse, and then she picked up again. She looks really nice, and as you say, the time, don't get carried away about thinking this is a tailwind. It's not a tailwind. This wind is whipping straight across this track, so you know, I think the ground's lively because this wind will be drying it out, and as we know, the Naysmar drives out very, very quickly, but she's definitely a filly with a lot of potential.
You can't help but be impressed by what we saw from Reroute in our previous race on debut for Ed Walker and Robert Winston, and you can't help but be impressed by what we've seen of Stepping Ahead this season, 2 from 2.
Well, his back-to-back wins at Nottingham Pontefract, where he slammed his opposition. He just seems to be a very, very progressive horse. He's a big, strong-looking individual. They're stepping him up in trip. The handicap has had his stay, £14. Unfortunately, his main opposition, I was very interested to see Sublimation run against him, but he's not in this field anymore. But it seems to have eased his task, and I would think it would be sort of another one that we've got to mention, Lilac Lace, who's just keeps racking up wins, but not. She's stepping up in class here and up in trip, but she seems to have a very likeable attitude, and her tactics are she likes to dominate. Whether she'll be allowed to, because I also believe that they'll keep this simple with Stepping Ahead. I don't think they'll allow this to be a dawdle.
The one thing that Lilac Lace needs to iron out when she, like today, when she's in better company, is the tendency just to be a bit keen early on in her races, and when she gets in better grade, that will find her out.
It will. You can't use up that energy early on in a race and get away with it at this level at the finish. But saying that, if she's allowed a soft lead here, she could be dangerous.
Do we judge Greeley's Love on the Chester run or the Epsom run?
Well, he was slowly away last time. He takes his time to warm up. He has a £7 pull with Stepping Ahead, but I don't think that'll be enough. I mean, he was firmly putting
9 lengths between them, near enough.
Firmly put in his place by them, and the winner looks far more progressive than him. But he did run well at Epsom. He's just an in-and-out performer. You take your chances.
Grandorio for the bang-informed David O'Meara, another great season for him. A season's best, I think, so far already at this time of year. And Grandorio's not out of this.
No, he won in his comeback run at Newcastle back in May. But I thought he cut little ice when stepped up to 1 mile and 4 at Musselburgh in this class. He drops back in trip today, and I think he just could be a little bit high in the handicap against some progressive types.
Top Notch Tonto is quite a good 2-year-old and hasn't been able to build on that this year. To be honest, and to be frank, he's struggled.
Yeah. I think he seems to want some cut in the ground and a strong pace to aim at. He's up to 1 mile and 2 today, and on pedigree, I don't think that's ideal. So I'd call him a watching brief today. He's finding winning difficult at the moment.
Not only is Stepping Ahead look very good on the track, but Stepping Ahead's pedigree backs it up as well. He looked as though he's going to make up into a nice horse before he even raced, and in his 3 starts today, you can't help but be impressed by what you saw. Is he a good play at even money?
I think in this sort of field he is. I think he's probably listed class, this horse, and if so, he is a good thing at even money. And I think the other thing that I like about him, I mean, a £14 hike is a hell of a lot. When a handicapper has his say, he's really had his say with this horse, but he just looked as if he was doing nothing in front.
And it doesn't, on the evidence of his win last time out, the £14 rise for his first 2 wins, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough when
No.
you look at the way he's winning these races.
I'd agree with you. I think this will be his for the taking.
Stepping Ahead, your even money favourite. Here's Mike.
Thanks, Ollie. This will be really interesting. Pity Sublimation's not in, but he might be a good price now. So set the 5 runners locked away. And they're off and racing over this extended mile and a quarter for the Neptune Investment Management Stakes. And Greeley's Love serves up his intentions by heading through the first furlong, but he's a little bit keen in the early part of the race. Top Notch Tonto likewise is tuggy, likewise the favourite Stepping Ahead, who's just trying to settle in 3rd place, and Lilac Lace's jockey similarly settling the filly in 4th. Last of all is Grandorio, who's settled nicely in last place. They're racing across the far side then, and out in front it's Greeley's Love, who leads narrowly from Top Notch Tonto, about half a length between them, with a length and a half back in 3rd then the favourite Stepping Ahead, going for his hat-trick. 2 lengths in hand then of the 6-timer seeking Lilac Lace with the red cap, and looking on from the back still is Grandorio and Danny Tudhope. They're turning left-handed now as they go past the 6 furlong marker on the far side. Turning down the side of the track, Greeley's Love settling better now. Top Notch Tonto's white face 2 lengths away in 2nd spot. In 3rd then Martin Harley's got the favourite Stepping Ahead in close proximity, with Lilac Lace and Duran Fenterman getting a little bit closer now, and Grandorio is being pushed along now at the back of the field as they straighten up for the judge with just over half a mile left to travel. They're coming down the centre of the course here. He's pressing on Greeley's Love, Adrian Nichols, and Stepping Ahead is now being driven along pretty furiously to try and pick up the pace. Top Notch Tonto though is just about to take over from Greeley's Love. Grandorio's responded to pressure on the right as we look at them with a beige jacket, and comes swinging off the bridle the challenge now with Top Notch Tonto on the near side. Stepping Ahead is under strong pressure, not really picking up. Lilac Lace is trying hard on the near side, dropping away is Greeley's Love. They're racing up towards the final furlong here, and it's Grandorio who's bounding clear by 3 to 4 lengths from Lilac Lace and Top Notch Tonto. Stepping Ahead very flat today because this is all over. Grandorio and Danny Tudhope are cruising home to a bloodless victory here. Easing right down, Grandorio is going to win this by a wide margin, very comfortably indeed, just from Lilac Lace 2nd, just from Top Notch Tonto 3rd, a disappointing Stepping Ahead, and then Greeley's Love.
Grandorio has won, and I'm joined actually by David O'Meara, who's come to have a look at the replay. David, whilst you're here, I might as well get your thoughts. That was dominant with a capital D.
It was, yeah. We've liked this horse for quite a while. Musselburgh was an absolute disaster. He got very lit up over a mile and a half. So back to a mile 2 today. Drop him in, switch him off, and just brilliant.
What do you put that run Musselburgh down to?
He just got lit up. He pulled and pulled and pulled for a furlong and a half, and once they do that, they just can't run a race. And sort of it was on the same day and exactly the same as Dawn Approach, although in different class of race. But that's what happened.
So hope for Dawn Approach backers now after seeing the.
Well, yeah. Anyway, look.
Talk us through the race. Did you want to be sat last?
No, not necessarily, but well, it didn't matter so long as he got settled. I just leave it to Danny. I said he was keen the last time. Switch him off, and then Danny makes it up from there. So he obviously was unconcerned about dropping him in, and as soon as he give him a nudge, he'd come straight back on the bridle.
He showed a ready turn of foot as well in the straight.
Yeah, he's a good horse.
You sound as though you've always had quite a big reputation of this horse. Last time out, a blot on the copybook.
Absolutely.
What is the sort of long-term targets with him?
There isn't really one. Maybe we should have had him in one of the Royal Ascot races now, but look, he's won today off 81 and he's won nicely. Today was a target for him, so it's good that he's